Just so first of all, just overall thoughts on tonight's match.
I think first half we dominated possession. I thought their goal was obviously a great finish, but we could have done better on the ball when we gave it away. But outside of that, they weren't a threat at all. I said to the group at halftime, I thought that they'd come out at us a little bit more in the second half, which they did. And the game became really transitional in the second half. Felt like I was at Wimbledon for a little bit. But I said to the group, last year, we played these twice, didn't get a point. And the games were pretty similar to what they were tonight. Tonight we've come here and we're disappointed to get a draw. So that's progress. It's not exactly what we want, which I'm all right with. I'm glad that they're in the locker room and they're not overly happy. I'm great with that. But, you know, I think for me and the staff, we're looking bigger picture. At the end, I thought we were hanging on a little bit, which we need to talk about and work on. But, you know, to come here, get a point, they're good at home, we know that. And yeah, they were a bit of a bogey side for us last year, so I'm glad we've got that monkey off our back.
And then second for me, could you just talk about the Emily Mason coming on at halftime for Madison Curry, if that was tactical personnel or if there was any injury issues?
Yeah, she had to come out with a little injury. I don't really know what it is, but I just got Maddie Curry's got to come off, so that's why that change was made.
And then obviously first goal of the season for Jordan. And, you know, she scores goals like that when you can get her on the end of services, but then also sometimes seems more comfortable as a playmaker. It seemed like when G came out, she sort of went into that attacking midfield position. Just how do you find the best position and role for her each game? Because I assume it changes each game a bit.
Honestly, not really. Her role was similar tonight than it was last week against Portland, and similar to Portland, different than what she played against Orlando, where she can sit into those pockets and get on the ball and feed other people. Honestly,
I'm so sorry, Laura. You cut out for the after your first sentence. You cut out.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Just like really, didn't hear anything.
I don't really know what I said. Yeah, to be honest, that's the role Jordan needs to play in underneath Lynn in some capacity. And the way that we've been building lately, we have two people who do that. And it was G and Jordan tonight, and it was Coco and Jordan last week. And I do think that that's her best role for us offensively, where she can attack the box late when she can. And I was so happy for her because, you know, she had that chance in the first half and she was devastated at halftime that she hadn't taken it. So that's why I think she ran to the bench when she scored, because I told her at halftime, like, we need you. We need what she brings, and she brought it. So I'm really happy for her that she got that goal.
And then last one for me, I know it's not the first time I've asked about Sam Meza, probably won't be the last, but great assist today. The amount of ground she covered, I would love to know who covers the most physical ground during a game for this team, because I have a feeling it's her. But could you just talk about, the impact you've seen from her this season and how she's really just been able to find her comfortable spot and really fill an important role for this team?
Yeah, I mean, she's a great example of why loans can be really good, you know, and sticking with it, you know, sticking to the journey, because last year was really challenging for her going on loan. She wanted to do it in the end, but, you know, I'm sure she would have preferred to be with us the whole time. But what an example it is of why we do those things. You know, Ryan Brown and Alyssa Mallinson, who was here tonight, were ones we did that with in 2022. And we felt the reward of that when they did that. And for Sammy, you know, she's come in and been exceptional. You know, I think I'm with you. I think the partnership between them's very good. I think they work off each other really well. And I'd be surprised if it wasn't Sammy or Maddie Darlene that cover the most amount of ground, to be honest.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Bella. And then we'll go to Steve.
Hi, Laura. Pre-game, you talked a little bit about wanting to have a bit more of a possession compared to previous games. And
Yeah.
in the first half of this game, Bay seemed to be more than happy to basically give you the ball the entire time.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how you thought your team did in dealing with trying to break down that low block, and if there's things you feel like they need to still work on.
Yeah, I think we need to work on it, if I'm honest. I think we did some good things, but I think one thing that we're very good at is we're very good instinctively to do things under pressure. And when you don't have pressure coming and they sit off you, the one thing you've got to be is patient, and the other thing you've got to be is you've got to be good with your structure. And we just weren't that at times. And that's what caused us a few problems in the first half. The second part of that is, and I said this to Lynn after the game, we end up trying to force it into Lynn with the first ball rather than being patient and trying to work ways where we can still get the ball where we want it and then find Lynn on the second pass. And again, I think we're still working through the wrinkles of how Lynn impacts our team, because tonight's another wrinkle. No one's really dropped off us the way that they did tonight. And what does that mean for us when we can't get Lynn in behind as much as we can? So yeah, I think it'll be a really good film session for us on Monday. But I don't want to dwell on it too much because I don't think many teams will do that, if I'm honest. But, you know, fair play to Bay. It was a challenge for us, but I think if we were to ever face it again, we'll definitely be better at it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. And then Charles?
Hey, Laura. I know I've kind of asked you about this a few times, and even going back to when you have had spurts of it. And I remember it mostly because I know when you don't have training, it's something that you're very adamant about, right? But, you know, with the draw here, and, you know, you mentioned the locker room being, they're not happy with this, right? Is it just more beneficial for you to have, you know, I believe it's two matches in a row at home after this, and to have the weeks of training so that you could say, hey, we know what we need to improve upon. Like, you could see it, they can see it, and you've got time to be able to assess that and work through it. Like you said, look at film. Yeah,
for sure. I think we're definitely a team that like to work through the, you know, the X's and O's to make sure we get it right. We're definitely that type of team. And yeah, training gives us that opportunity to do that. So yeah, secondly, we love playing at home, right? So this obviously wasn't a terrible travel trip, but playing at home is a place where we know that we can perform and we can cause people problems. And having a training week going into next week against Kansas will be obviously really important because they're such a threat.
I wanted to ask you, I know we've asked you about Maddie Donnelly in the past, but it seemed like this match might not have been an easier one for her. Seems like she kind of had a rougher go with things. What did you just take from what she was trying to do and what she was able to, you know, put together in this match?
That she's a threat. You know, I think even though it maybe wasn't the game where she got loads of like clear chances and all those things, she was, you know, probably our most dangerous threat. And I do think Lynn helps her. I really do. I think I was chatting to Abby Dalcamper at the end of the game, and she's like, you know, it's just so hard to deal with Lynn. And then what that then means is Maddie gets stuff, you know, and I think that's the layer we've got to really find is how do we make sure that either one of them is in the game a lot. And there were times in the second half I thought Maddie had like really good opportunities to get people 1v1 or break down the opponent's defense and all that stuff. But she, you know, she's such a winner that you never want to take her off the field. You know, she runs, her defensive work is phenomenal. And we will get the reward of that. I'm absolutely convinced of it. And we nearly did tonight. You know, like we nearly got the reward of the hard work we put in defensively. We got a couple of chances off, you know, half chances, Jordan's big chance, a couple of half chances off some good defending. And I feel like those three up there really do cause teams problems with that. And Lynn and Maddie tend to be the talisman of that. So, yeah, she's just a winner. Wants to win so badly. So badly.
My last one, you spoke a little bit about your forwards there, just Coco. I know she missed this one with a leg injury. Can you give any insight into what she's battling through right now?
Yeah, it's muscular. It's probably going to be a couple more weeks. Yeah, you know, we're picking up little niggles, which is frustrating, but they're not like disastrous. So I think a couple more weeks. Her and Jess are probably on a similar timeline at this point.